It's not for sure a problem because you take into account the whole sukkah, total of the whole sukkah. Okay. It has to mean that taking the whole sukkah, the majority of sukkah, the majority of schach against the space, it's kosher. You may sometimes find a certain spot a little more open. It doesn't mean it's not kosher unless it's that could also be a problem because again, many Chabadis we put a lot of schach, you don't have the issue, but it could sometimes be it's very common. I shouldn't say it's common. It comes to commercial places, restaurants, places like that, events. You're going to a park, you're going to an event, Talmud Sukkahs, I go to kids' Sukkahs, that many times they could have this big Sukkahs that they put up, they just hire someone to just pop it up, canvas, and so it could sometimes happen that there could be issues. If you have a one spot, let's say if it's in a spot that's a 2 by 2 feet area, and in that area you're going to have more airspace than schach, there'll be an issue, even if the rest of the sukkah is okay, because it's considered because that's the size of a sukkah. The size of a kosher sukkah is about 24 by 24 inches, according to some, be 28 by 28. I'm averaging it off about 24 by 24. That's approximately what it is. That makes a kosher sukkah. Sukkah doesn't have to be so big. Okay, let's talk about the wall. Any questions about the schach that specific questions that aren't clear? Yeah.
What if it becomes non-kosher like on the hot, and you can't touch, or like on Shabbos, and you can't?
It becomes non-kosher because schach fell off.
Yeah.
Or there isn't enough schach, and you can't make it kosher on sukkahs. That's correct. What could you do? To find a kosher sukkah, you cannot make a sukkah kosher on sukkahs. That's a real issue. But I'll look into it more. There might be ways. Again, doesn't come up so often, but it could be. Question could ask a non-Jew. You ask a non-Jew to put on schach. That's the question. When we put on schach, to start with, could you have a non-Jew putting on schach first? The answer is no. If you did put on, is it kosher? There may be some lenient opinions. It's something to look into. In other words, if you need to make the sukkah kosher, could you ask a non-Jew to do it? You'd have to look into it. I think there's an issue with that. Usually it's not a major problem. It's like the whole sukkah is not, many times just certain parts of the sukkah is no good. But if everything is possible, you could. You see, the problems usually happen when you go places. Usually with your own sukkah, it's fine. When you go a chalmai place, that's what usually happens. But generally speaking, if it's not kosher, you cannot make it kosher on sukkahs. You can't, because that's called fixing. I mean, on Yom Tov, chalmai Yom Tov sukkahs, the 7 days of sukkahs, right? The Yom Tov Shabbos, you cannot. Walls. Let's talk a little bit about the walls. How many walls do you need for a kosher sukkah? So it's very interesting that it's actually everything in the Torah is so exact, and it's actually in the words. Spell sukkah, sukkah, sukkah. Samach, kaf, pronounce with a kaf, sukkah, samach, kaf, hey. Notice they wrote the letters a little different than usual because sukkah has 4 walls, samach has 4 walls, the chaf has 3 walls, and hey has 2.5 walls. Any of these are good. Even if it's 2.5 walls, it's kosher. The sukkah to be kosher must have 2.5 walls. Think about the word sukkah, you have all the different types of sukkahs in here. 2.5 walls. You notice that two of them, it's connected. You must have at least 2 walls connected. There must be 2 walls connected. And then you can have 1 wall here. What's the size? The size of the wall is about, said before, about 2 feet. To be strict, it's 28 inches. That one covers all opinions. 28 inches. That's the size of a wall. Size of a sukkah. That's the size of a sukkah, actually. So even if the sukkah is much larger, but you only need that size wall. Now, you can't have openings more than 15 feet. You can have, that's the maximum size of a doorway is 10 cubits, which is 15 feet. It's large. So you can have a doorway. But if it's more than that, then it's not called a doorway. So that's the size. In other words, this is the size of the wall. The wall doesn't have to, even over here, even though the way Hayes goes like that, but the sukkah, the box of tissues in. Oh, used to other places, for some reason or something. Could be like this also. If each one is 28 inches, it's fine. Now, the only thing is, how large is the sukkah? What happens over here? Right? If here, if it's more than 10, if it's more than 15 feet, you have an issue. But if it's less, from here to here is less than 15 feet, it's fine. From here to here to less than 15 feet, it's fine, because you have 2 walls here, you have one wall here, complete wall, 48 inches, and that's good enough. It's a kosher sukkah. You don't need more than that.
How would you get that one wall to stand up?
The technical part is whatever. I mean, there's ways how to do it. You're right. Well, you could get. So you ask what relevance does it have? You can't get it to stand up. First, you can have situations where it's a brick wall, because you don't really build huge walls that were there before. Also, many times, usually when you build a sukkah, you have 2x4s going across. You have beams going across the wall, holding the walls together. So if you have a wall here, you have a 2x4 going across, holding it down, from going like this, from here. Let's say you say, usually people put something over here also, let's say, and then you have something going across here, following this wall. So there's ways that to do it. Many Chabadists have 4 complete walls. So again, many Chabadists actually 4 walls, but it's still a kosher sukkah. Did we discuss over there? That was another class. A problem that I noticed over the years is a very common problem, and that is people know about the stuff, people know about the walls, but they don't know that the walls and the stuff have to be connected. Just to exaggerate the situation, I have schach and I have walls. The schach will have a sukkah, very nice. Where the walls have walls also. Where the walls, they're down there. Obviously, that's ridiculous, right? But the point is, if the schach is here and the walls are far away, it doesn't connect, right? So there's an amount. How close it has to be? The walls of the schach have to be within 9 inches. It's a little more, but I'm just to be safe, I'm saying 9 inches. Other people say 12 inches, whatever. So 9 is safe. The schach and the walls have to be within. So in other words, let's imagine this room over here, in the sukkah. Okay, there's walls and the schach. Imagine it's a schach, right? And now imagine for a moment that this whole area down here is no schach. There's these panels here. There's no schach. It's empty over here. Got it? Mm-hmm. On the wall, the schach, but here there's no schach. Okay, so what's wrong? So I won't sit over here, sit over here. It's not. That's wall, schach. Now you know what the problem is, right? And then you want the 9 inches in the wall and it's not. So this wall, not a wall, it's a wall, but it's not a wall for the sukkah. This sukkah is now missing a wall. Does it mean the sukkah is not kosher? Necessarily. If I have 3 walls here, it's good. But if all I have is 3 walls total. Let's say we have this wall, and that wall. Now, 3 walls of kosher sukkah. But if between this wall and the schach is more than 9 inches, then this wall is gone. Only have 2 walls. 2 walls, not a kosher sukkah. Minimum is 2.5 walls. So I've noticed this in a few places. Yeah, comments. Yeah, that's when it comes to like establishments, like restaurants, things like that. There's different scenarios with the same idea. There's the schach in the walls, and the walls are not connected to the schach. And that's a major problem. Sukkah is just plain not kosher. Not like astringency, it's just not kosher. It's like there's no walls, literally. So that's something you want to look out for. Okay, now what if you have the middle of the what if you have a gap in the sukkah itself? So we said before that if you have a area in the sukkah that's 2 by 2 feet, approximately, from 20 inches, and that area is more space than stock. So then you can't sit in that area. The rest of the sukkah still could be kosher. Because if take into consideration the entire sukkah, you have more schach than space, the sukkah is a kosher sukkah. But if you have an area that's about 2 by 2 feet, and that area itself is more space than schach, then in that area you can't eat there, it's not a sukkah, you can't eat. In other words, if it's not called sitting in the sukkah. However, what if you have just a space? You have a space in the sukkah that's less than 9 inches. So you have a space that's less than 9 inches. Okay, so there's more details. Okay, those details I want to get back to in another class. There's more details I want to look into. I just want to bring out one more interesting point. That is as follows. That is, what if you have a wall? We're all discussing this empty space over here. What about the empty space? But it's positive stock. It's a positive stock. Imagine this is ground, there's only 1 floor, there's no floor above us. And you keep the walls, you have this old construction, this old building, whatever, and you break down the ceiling, break down the roof, and you put stock. And you keep the walls. So you broke all the stock from the middle of the room, middle of the building, and you should come around here and come out the panels. So here is positive stock, here is kosher stock. Again, first from over here, from here is positive stock, and then comes the kosher stock. Is this still considered a wall? You say it's not a wall. You said before discussion was space. Yes, we've all discussed. So, want to say to the question that exactly. There's a difference between space, this specifically by the wall and stuff. Not in the middle, it's different. We're discussing here by the end of the circuit. When the space by the end of the circuit, it's a much bigger problem than if it's covered. So if it's covered, and you have sukkahs like that, you'll see sukkahs. Something for the construction, whatever, the wall here, then it's covered by stuff that's not kosher. And in kids, it starts to stop. So it's a very interesting halacha. It's halacha Moshe Sinai. It means Moshe Rabbeinu on Har Sinai received all the halachas of sukkahs from Hashem. And Hashem taught him, and it's a halacha called Doifen Akuma. Doifen Akuma. Doifen means a wall, Akuma means a crooked. Doifen, wall, Akuma means a crooked wall. Something called a crooked wall. Which is called Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, look, it is that if you have the sukkah and then you have the ceiling that begins right after the wall is not kosher stock, and then starts the kosher stock. So up until 4 cubits, that is up until 6 feet, the ceiling, the roof becomes part of the wall. It's like an extension of the wall, it's like a crooked wall. You can't be here, there's no kosher stock, but it doesn't mean down into something. There's no break between the wall and the stock. The roof with the non-kosher stock is part of the wall. So up until 6 feet. Well. What about here? What about here? What about here? What about here? You have no stock is not kosher. You still, the wall is still considered a wall from the city. Thus we can't be here. There's no kosher stock. So space, having the gap between the wall and the stock, that's the major problem. Yeah.
Most women can eat under the non-kosher.
Right, so women aren't obligated. Women have obligated to sit and eat in the sukkah. So, but it's all about if you want to have the mitzvah of eating in the sukkah. So it's not called sitting in a sukkah. It's not called a sukkah. It's one can eat in the house also, but it's not a sukkah. If you have a tree hovering over your sukkah, you have to cut down the tree because the tree is, what it does is it invalidates the stock that's underneath it. Doesn't mean your sukkah is possible. If you find that there's a tree hovering over this sukkah, not necessarily, because it depends how much branches, because according to what the branches does is, it's sort of, it nullifies, it extracts. According to the amount of the skach, it's as if, according to the amount of the tree that's hovering over the skach, so whatever skach is underneath, it's like it doesn't exist, it's like you're missing skach. Because basically, we don't need this kosher skach if you have that, so it's like, it discounts whatever stock there is. And depending how much branches, that's how much stock you're missing. If you're missing stock, doesn't mean the sukkah is not kosher, depends how much stock you're missing. So just because there's a tree over your sukkah, it doesn't mean it's for sure possible. It could be kosher. But you have to start now figuring out how much. If people have a tree over the sukkah, they will chop off the tree. There are opinions that say that once you already put the schach, and now, oh, this the tree, you chop off the tree, it's not good enough. You have to lift up the schach and put it back again. But according to the Al Tzedekah, once you chop off the tree, you don't have to realign the schach, pick up the schach and put it down again. However, if you have an awning, many people have an awning over, and many people, some people here, it's not so much. So have an awning that's over the sukkah, let's say it's pouring rain, you want to build the sukkah, so the awning covering over, and you put on the schach while there's an awning over it. That's a problem. Then the sukkah won't be kosher even if you took off the awning. Over there, you'll have to afterwards pick up the schach again, slowly lift it up and put it back down, because it has to be done in a kosher way. And it teaches us it has to be made, not become made. Not it becomes like by itself. In the action that you are putting the schach, you're making it kosher. When you put the schach, there's an awning over it, it's no good. When you chop off the tree, that's different. Because you're doing a real action. You actually removed, there's no tree anymore. It's totally disattached. So that will be okay. But now you have a lot of the canvas sukkahs. You'll see it around the canvas sukkahs. What happens is the wind blows it around, and those sukkahs are questionable. According to Allah, a wall has to be a wall that does not move around. If the wind could blow it around, that could make the sukkah not kosher. Why am I saying it could? we cannot say for sure it's not kosher, but it's very questionable. There are opinions that say that if it blows within 9 inches, again, the 9 inches, the same idea, within 9 inches is considered connected. If it's blowing within 9 inches, the opinions say it's good. But if it's blowing more than 9 inches, you know what I mean? No, if it's blowing more than 9 inches, then for sure it's a problem. So that's the leniency that people use. They tie it, and the wind blows it a little bit. Because it's within 9 inches, it's okay. This is a leniency. It's not a leniency that you should rely on. Meaning, doesn't mean that if someone uses a sukkah there, if for sure not doing the mitzvah. It's not the different levels. There's some leniencies are more acceptable than more. Sometimes I say, halachically it's okay, but it's better to be strict. It's not like that. This leniency is not. It's a very weak leniency, lack of a better term. Weak. It's not a strong. It's not. There's such an opinion that holds like that, and people want to rely on it. A lot of people will do is if you have to hit the sukkahs, but then if you notice and pay attention, they'll hit straps on the bottom. Because how tall the sukkah can handle is. What's the height of a kosher sukkah? About to cover all things, 40 inches. So say 31 inches. This table's about 29 inches. So it's really about 31 inches, so it's 40 inches. That's the height of a sukkah. So what they do is they put straps within 9 inches to each other and make it tight. And then they create a wall. A wall doesn't have to be a complete wall. A wall could be also slants that are within 9 inches from each other. That also becomes a wall. The wall does not have to go all the way to the schach, by the way. Halachically, you can have a wall that doesn't go up to the schach. You have a wall that goes till there. And the schach can be all the way in. They're going to say, how do you hold up the schach? Okay, so there's ways out to construction in 2x4. You can have poles go up. 2x4 goes that way. There's ways how to do it. Halachically, the walls do not have to come to the schach. That's halachically okay. That's not a problem. Not only that, the schach doesn't have to be directly over the wall. The schach could be removed as long as it's within 9 inches. So if this is a wall, and imagine that schach, and then it's moved back within 9 inches, that means that the schach would come down, let's say the schach would come down, let's say, hypothetically speaking, it would be within 9 inches to the wall, it's still good. Kosher, 100%. That's what people do in F10 with sukkahs, but what I've seen many times is the straps themselves are not strong. I've seen on Kingston when they put up the sukkahs that they put up for, say, restaurants and these places like that, like establishments, they're the worst. Just watch out for them. They're like horrible. They just put them up because it's like fast food restaurant, everything is fast. If it's fast food, you get away with it. Whatever garbage they give you. But their sukkah has to be kosher. And a lot of them are like, and moving, blowing them like that with water. You be very careful with those. So again, you have applies mainly to men, but you're not obligated. But if you do want to sit in a sukkah and you're saying a bracha has been discussed leishiv sukkah, you can't say if it's not a sukkah, you can't say leishiv sukkah. So it's important to know that. So be very, but I'm saying a lot of times the straps they put up are just loose. They put up straps and put up straps. Then they go back and forth. Okay, another okay, so we'll talk a little bit about I mentioned before I was going to discuss it later. There's more details, but I'll just tell you at least the basics. There's more details I want to fill in, but I'm giving you just the basic, and that is that you're sitting in the sukkah, you look up, you're sitting right under the light fixture, There's a big board on the metal pole coming across, and there's the light, and that's not kosher skach. So is that called sitting in the sukkah? Because the sukkah is kosher, but how big is the area? So if it's 12 inches, if it's about 12 inches, to be more precise, would be like 12 point something, and I'm saying 12 to be about, let's say, close to 13 inches wide, then which is 4 handbreadths, that's a problem. You cannot sit on, I say you cannot, which means it's not sitting in a sukkah, not like you transgress for sitting there. You're not sitting in a sukkah, for whatever that means. Okay, so if it's 13, it's about this tile is 12 inches. So you get an idea what it is. It's 12 by 12. So you have to think about this size, 12 by 12, when you're sitting right up. That's not called sitting in a sukkah. If it's under 9 inches, no problem. If it's between 9 and 12, you want to be strict. It's good to be strict. That it's not considered sitting in a sukkah. Again, I'm saying 9, 12, it's really more precisely it's 9.6. But I'm saying 9 just to be safe. The real amount of where it's really a problem is not 12, it's not more than that, it's actually maybe closer to 13. Then it's really a problem. Yeah, you follow it? Now you see a lot of times just in the sukkah, they look up, they make sure there's something right under them. Again, it doesn't invalidate the sukkah. Sukkah is fine, because we said there's more space, there's more sukkah than space, more skach than space, but in that area, that's not called sitting in the sukkah. Yeah. You're sitting under, giving a practical example, sitting under a place that's partial skach. It could be a metal, sometimes because of the construction or whatever, they usually it's on lights, the light fixture, or what would it be? Yeah.
This problem when light is so bright, so you can't see the stars.
No, good question. You're supposed to be able to see the stars, but if it's so bright, you can't see the stars. The point is, you're able to see the stars. You're able to see the stars. There's a possibility if you shut off the light, you'll be able to see the stars. It's not like you have to look at the stars. It's not like when when you say kiddush, you're supposed to look at the candles. You have to have the ability that it's the schach is in such a way that it's not so covered that you're able to see the stars. Just like it can't be so packed that the rain should be able to come in. Does it have to rain? Another interesting halacha brought down is, and this is not a requirement, this is a good thing. Brought down that when it comes to the first night of Sukkot, the kedusha, the holiness, comes to the sukkah when it gets dark. When it comes to the first night of Sukkot, so therefore it's a good idea that the sukkah should not be covered. What do you mean? Why should sukkah be covered? Well, people have awning, and it's raining, and they want to make sure they don't want the whole sukkah to get wet. So it's very likely they'll keep the awning over the sukkah. And if it's the first night of Sukkot, we're saying the ideal thing is that as it gets dark, as the Yom Tov is coming in, as the holiness of the Yom Tov is coming in, the Sukkah should be open. The Sukkah should not be covered. If it was covered, it's still a kosher Sukkah, but it's brought down in Svarim that if it's good, that's how it should be. So let's discuss now about the mitzvah. Oh. Being that it's the last class of Rosh Hashanah, do you want to like go over the halachos of Rosh Hashanah? We did have reviews on it and worksheets, but if you want, we could like briefly run through like the basics of. You want to do that, or I'll ask questions and no?
Yeah, I have a question about how to can you repeat please how I can break my skin during the 3 days of Ramadan. Which type of
It's medicinal.
No, I have dry skin.
It's not medicinal. It's just because it's dry skin. It's a bit of an issue because it's not something that's not medicinal. And even medicinal doesn't mean allowed, depending on what kind of level it is, and it's just for it's just for to make it better. It's just gonna stop bleeding, and it's gonna dry.
Because I asked some people yesterday, and I went to ask them.
Logically, it's an issue. It's an issue putting it on a Yom Tov.
What about?
Same thing, you're doing it for the skin. There's a leniency if you put it, there's a leniency if you do it every day, then it's not called, then there's a leniency, but leniency is only when it's necessary to use it. It's better to, first of all, we saw, even if there was leniency, you can't, you have to like prepare it before Yom Tov. If it's, then you have to smooth it out, then how are you gonna use it? It has to be a cream that you smooth out on the cloth or something.
What about oil?
Oil, what about it? Using it on Yom Tov? Using it for the skin, so it's medicinal. It's to make the skin. 1 second. If the skin is still dry, if the skin is not, let me correct myself. If the skin is fine, it's just to keep it fine, then it's not medicinal. Because you're just preventing it from happening, preventing from an issue. In other words, medicine is an issue on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Generally, you're not just taking medicine Shabbos and Yom Tov. But if the medicine you're taking is just to prevent an issue, like you're taking, let's say, some Tums or something, just that you shouldn't have a heartburn, you're taking some, it's interesting, like Tylenol for hay. It's an issue on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Generally, you're supposed to be strict with not taking Tylenol Shabbos and Yom Tov. But if the reason why you're taking it is because you're concerned you might get a headache, and this is to avoid the headache, then you're allowed, because our sage is only prohibited if it's medicine. But if you don't have any medicinal issue yet, you're just doing it to prevent something from happening. That wasn't included in the prohibition. So now I'm just, reminding myself, if the reason why you're putting the cream is because it could become flaky, itchy, whatever, and you're just doing it that it should retain itself the way it is. So it's not complete, so it's not dried. If it's already dried up, it could be an issue. So if it's not dried up, the skin is in good condition, right? And you're doing it and you're maintaining it, then it's okay. Which type of cream? What's the difference? What do you mean? Oh, in terms of the malacha. Then there's the issue of the malacha, smoothing out. But anything that has density, you cannot, like, if you're pressing against it, that's smoothing. You can't take something that's dense and smooth it out. That's a separate issue. So it has to be something that doesn't have any density. It has to be loose, like an oil. Or you could spread it out on cloth, on whatever you're using, material you have, and then put that onto the skin. I don't think that works so good because you need a lot of material for that. Right, but it works more for specific areas, right? So if it's a cream that you have to like smooth out, then it's a problem because you're doing malacha, you're smoothing out. That's a problem. Yeah. Yeah.
A couple questions. One, I frequently become allergic to products and will break out in like a really painful rash. If that happens on Yom Tov, can I put like something very liquidy on it?
Why do you think it's going to happen?
Because last Yom Tov I became allergic to my deodorant, my spray deodorant.
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
Well, you should, on a practical level, you should try to avoid this chemical stuff. There's a lot of natural products that you could buy much better than all this garbage and this chemical stuff. So you stay away from these. You're concerned it's going to happen, so why use something else that again has chemicals? Then it's going to happen again.
No,
Don't
like
use
I've
it.
become allergic to types of soap before. So like if I develop like a bad rash,
Okay.
can I put like a really
So the question is, if you get a rash on Yom Tov, could you use medicine?
Yeah.
Depends how bad the rash is. Generally, we don't use medicine Shabbos and Yom Tov.
Can you take the?
Usually the answer is no. Unless it's really bad, and even if it's very painful, it's complicated. Medicine and Shabbos and Yom Tov. The only leniency would be is the second day of Yom Tov.
What about a
The
medication?
second day of Yom Tov is a little more easier when it comes to medicine. Second day, so you have 3 days this year. So the first day, no, the third day, no, and the second day, if it's affecting you, then it has to be something there. It can't just be comfort. If it's something that's sometimes a rash that develops, then you could be lenient in terms of the medicinal part, and then there's the malacha part, which is smoothing, and be careful with that.
What about medication that like you need to take every single day, or it'll be very bad?
Yes. First of all, if the way you describe it sounds like a condition that's a medical situation. It's a medical situation that's, even if it's not life-threatening, but it's a medical condition. Like someone has an infection or something like that, then you could take medication on Shabbos Yom Tov. The issue of medication on Shabbos Yom Tov is if it's something that's just the person is in pain. It's a light form of sickness, not an infection, a cold, where the person is functioning, the person could move around, the person could do things, but he's not feeling so good. Then medication is an issue. If a person is sick, infection, he's in bed, something like that, that's area, then you could take medicine.
What about mental health medication?
Mental health, generally the answer is yes, they could, because it's important, but mental health is a general term. It could be from 1 to 10. Assuming that it's something that's important, that he needs to take it, not just to feel a drop at it, just to, right?
Did you find out?
And also if they take it every day. But I find out about the sprays. I did look into it, the Venturi sprays, right? I looked into it again. They write them in it, and all the sprays that are now are not Venturi, the ones that we use here. So
I was about to ask if you
there was
found out
another
about
question yesterday, but I don't remember what it was, but I said I want to look into it. I could mark
the
it down.
safety of pets.
Huh?
Pets in your care, if you can leave bones, if you're worried about the danger of choking or them or getting sick.
Oh, right, okay. Right, okay, yeah, okay, right, yeah, this is it. Okay. Yeah,
Talk about air touch. Air touch.
yeah, we did talk about it, and I actually have papers here, it doesn't mean it's in case you're gonna be doing it. We did discuss it, yeah, he makes it for everyone in the dorm, yeah? Oh.
I have a question about
If you want a copy of it, in case you want to see what it's about, briefly, you want to know what it's about?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we did talk about this in length, so you could get reviews from the students, but I'll tell you briefly what it is. Briefly, the Eretz Hashem, you want to know what it's done? You want to know how it's done, or
Why it's
starting
done.
from the beginning? Why it's done?
Yeah.
The reason we went into, I don't want to go into that, it's something practical, like, answer you quickly. But we went into great length, I mean, you get review and you'll find that, unless you have a specific practical question. Yeah, you want to ask something? Who's, yeah.
Sorry about questions. So I'm going to be staying in the dorm and I still need to go feed my cat. Is that considered cooking for my cat? Like, would I have to make an additional Arab chip filling for myself?
feed your cat?
Yeah.
You're cooking for the cat?
No, I have to like open a can and like, I don't know, I'm overthinking it and my brain hurts.
Opening a can, so could you open it, so the issue is opening a can, could you open a can on Shabbos? Generally, right, no, so Yom Tov is, we said can is an issue, there are leniencies, but we try to avoid it. So it's not about Erev Tavshil, it's about for the day itself, are you allowed to open a can on Yom Tov? It's better not to open a can.
If I stab the bottom of
Could
it,
you, so there is a leniency, not everyone holds of it. Could you open the can before Yom Tov? It won't be fresh, refrigerated.
and I, would there be an issue with having like an open thing of cat food in a kosher fridge? Like if I cover it with tinfoil?
Cover it properly. Write in it, it's not kosher, whatever, put it somewhere. That's the best thing, because the open cans on Yom Tov, there is a leniency, but it's a leniency. It's not the ideal situation to open cans on Yom Tov.
Are there say like Amazon?
There are, yeah, straight from. Can openers is the issue, that's the issue. Opening a can in the problem. Oh. Yeah, the last one was too short. Can't open your, it's not gonna help you. The issue, that's the issue is, don't open cans, Shabbos, even with a can. It's a leniency to make a hole in the bottom and then open it. But a lot of things, I want to point out to that, a lot of things hold it based on the altar, but it's not proper. Some hold it is, but it's not what that's mean, huh? Lach is Tzichin King, which means creating a vessel. An opening that's making the vessel by, now it's a vessel. So now it wasn't a vessel, because you can't use it, it's sealed. Now you take off the opening, now you could use it. Now it's a usable vessel. Even though we don't use it, we throw it out, but it could be used. So that's the issue. Okay.
Is a can with a tuna out there the same as like a soda can? Soda can is also.
A soda can, a can of tuna is much more serious, because a can of tuna is strong. A can of soda is not as strong, you just pop and that's it. So a can of soda, there's more room for leniency. So some would still be strict, I would leave, but I would open it, but there's definitely more room for leniency.
And it will
soda
serve
can than a can of tuna. If a can of tuna is not strong, you get one step in, open smashes.